Hello and welcome to season 44 of Alliance War. This is episode 1 and you join me and my alliance, the Celestial Avengers, as we embark to break free of the shackles of Platinum 1 and finally finish Masters. Our team for today will be our 6-star rank 5 Ascended Omega Red, our 6-star rank 5 Blade, and our 6-star Mephisto. Mephisto will be there to give Blade a synergy that lets his danger sense bonus expand to include all Mystic champions. Blade is also a decay attacker, which gives him immunity to placebo buffs and eventually resistance to damage over time when the opponent has at least 3 debuffs. Our masteries for this war will be starting with Suicides on, but eventually we'll be removing them. Our first fight here was against Korg on Path 7. Only a 6-star rank 4, so we were punching down quite a lot. And our plan was to just block bait heavies until we were safely at 10 spores, because we didn't want to risk a stun at less than 10 spores because that could activate the damage reflection passive. He throws a special one when I didn't want him to, but luckily we get a parry in at 14 spores, so we can lock the degen in there, and now the fight's over. Moving on in Path 7, we have a Dragon Man next. A 7-star rank 1 Dragon Man. We were advised to take Dex off for this fight to just avoid activating Dexterity and potentially giving him the unstoppable passive from the global node. So we're using Blade for this fight. With a Mephisto synergy, he does have danger sense against all Mystics, like I said before. So our Blade is hitting for very hard here. And we can safely throw a special 2 here, even though that will give him an armor break debuff. The attacker tactic will mean we'll be fully immune to the damage over time from the passive degen, as you'll see here. So we did take quite a lot of health loss in this fight, mostly due to recoil and our boosted health, the loss from the poison debuff. So it was a bit of a costly fight, this one, but we healed up for the later Blade fights. Sticking on Part 7, into the second section, we have an Attuma, 6-star rank 5. We obviously put Dex back on for this fight, but it has to do a bit of practice. Heavy punishing is heavy, because I wasn't completely good at it yet. But after a few attempts, I managed to get it pretty down pat. So now for the real fight. Similar to Korg, we want to wait until we have 10 spores before we can really lock in that degen. We can lock in the spores at lower than 10, but it's better to just wait until there's 10 up, so you get really nice damage in. So we lock in there the spores at 11, and we get a nice little intercept there. Of course, we are still running Suicide, so we have the bleed active from Double Edge. We get a nice heavy there, locking in at 21 spores. We dex the special 2. He does have 8 hydration charges, but it doesn't really matter until he gets close to 20. That's when he goes unstoppable. But the fight is over before that becomes an issue. That concludes day 1 of our fights. Now on to day 2. So we started off day 2 by just removing our Suicide Masteries, because we have done all the Omega Red fights for this war. The only fights left we had were Blade fights. Now, he can go immune to damage over time, however that only affects future damage over time effects. It doesn't affect the bleed and poison that you get from the start of the fight, which is why you saw Blade was taking so much damage from the poison aspect of the Suicide Masteries. We also put Limber and Mystic Dispersion back on, ready for our Alliance War defense for next war. first fight today is a Black Widow Clairvoyant. We are going to be using Blade, which is a bit of a sketchy matchup because Black Widow naturally is immune to bleed. So we're going to be avoiding parrying and throwing specials as much as possible. Black Widow being a global defender, so she does have the sugar pills, so we do want to use a global attacker, which is why Blade was assigned here. Some science attackers like Silk would have also worked, but for all the fights we needed Blade for, it was a good option. And I did use an invulnerability boost on just in case she does get pushed to a special 3 from the immunity to bleeds that do give her power. But we didn't actually need it in this fight. We took a few risks dexing it before. She could have gone unstoppable, but we were able to knock her down with a heavy there to apply a slow debuff, so there's no chance of her getting unstoppable now, even when dexing in specials. And you can see the bleeds, they're doing no damage, and they're also lasting for next to no ticks because of Blade's power level at the moment. So she's down to 5%, and we can easily finish her off now with the special 3. Now for the last fight of the war, we have a boss island fight. We have a Juggernaut, 6-star rank 5, node 48, which is the conflictor node. But first, I had to wait for my officer, Mr. Spud, to clear a few fights for us. First, he had to do a Spidey Supreme, and then a Mangog, and then we had to wait for our guidance boost on Juggernaut.
2 hours later.
Alright, so going into the fight now, we do have our guidance boost active, so we have the passive stun. However, Conflictor does still activate from the bleed trying to apply. So I did also have an invulnerability boost on for this fight. That's 2 for this ball we've been using, we had to use. And because of the passive stuns, we don't actually remove his gem from a parry because there's no debuff involved. So we have to just hit him a few times to remove those unstoppable stacks. However, now that slow is active from the special 2, there's no chance of him ever going unstoppable now. And we do have skill power boost on as well, to push us back up to a few special 2s in a row, and this fight went very quickly. So that was it for our first war of the season. We did very well. We in fact took no hits at all. It was a completely perfect war. 5 solos, 0 deaths. I don't have the overall result for this war yet, as it hasn't finished, so I will update you with that information at the start of the next war video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I really hope you guys enjoy this new war format. I'm going to be sticking with this for a while, so let me know what you guys think. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.